everyone. Today we are discussing the chapter integrals. Okay. Now in order to know what is integration or what the chapter is containing, we should know what is differential calculus. So first we will just have a recap of what is differential calculus. Okay. So the main point how the origination of differential calculus arose is that the problem of finding out the tangent or to get the tangent of a given line to the graph of the function. Okay, if you have the graph, how will you find out the tangent line to the graph? That was the first problem arose, and after that you have to find out the slope of their tangents. So these problems gave or paved way to differential calculus, because the slope of the tangent is the same as the derivative of the given function. So if you have a function which is differentiable, you can find out its derivative. That is what you are studying in differential calculus. That means if you have a function f of x, you can find out f dash of x, which is known as its derivative. Okay, so this is what you are studying in your differential calculus. Now what we are dealing with here is integral calculus, and this integral calculus is nothing but the reverse process of differential calculus. That is, here we have been given the function which is differentiable. That means the function will be given and we are finding out the derivative of the function. And in integral calculus, what we will be doing is the derivative of a given function will be there. You have to find out what is that function related to the derivative. Okay. Now how integral calculus arose? The study of integral calculus arose due to the problem for defining and calculating the area of the region bounded by the graphs of the functions. That means if you are provided with a graph, suppose this is a graph, under certain conditions, that means the region to be bounded will be given and you have to find out the area bounded by the graph. Suppose this is the graph, these are the boundaries given, is equal to B is equal to A. So this region's area can be found out using your integral calculus. And the other thing which we already have discussed is if the derivative of a function is given, you can find out the function. So this is categorized under indefinite integral. That is, if you have the derivative of a function, you can find out the function is based on indefinite integral, and if you are given the graph or the function with certain conditions, and you can find out the area of the region bounded by the graph of the function, and that is categorized under definite integral. So integral calculus or integrals comprises of two things, which are indefinite as well as definite integral. Indefinite plus definite integral will give you your integral calculus. Okay, so first we will deal with what is indefinite integral. So in general, when we say what is integration, integration is nothing but it is a reverse process of differentiation. So whatever we have done to find out the derivative, the reverse thing will give you the integration process. Okay, and since it is the reverse process of differentiation, it is also known as anti-differentiation. Integration is also known as anti-differentiation. Now we'll just go through examples in order to clarify what is integration through what is differentiation, how we differentiate and how it is related to the reverse process. Okay. Now starting with an example, suppose I want to find out the derivative of sin x, which you have already studied. You know that the derivative of sin x is cos x, right? Now when I say d by dx or derivative of sin x is cos x, I can say that sin x is the integral of cos x. That means when I want to get sin x, this should be gone. Okay, so I will say that sin x is known as the antiderivative of cos x or I can say it is the integral of cos x. Okay. Now I am taking another example, another in the sense d by dx. If I want to check what is d by dx of sin x plus 5, what I can do, it is d by dx of, you can separately differentiate d by dx of sin x plus d by dx of 5, and you know that derivative of a constant is 0. So what you will get is d by dx of sin x plus 0. d by dx of sin x is cos x and the other one is 0. That means you are again getting cos x. So when I compare with this, I can say that again antiderivative of cos x is sin x plus 5, right? According to this, I should say that sin x plus 5 is also the antiderivative of cos x, or else you can say integral of cos x, right? Now if I take instead of this 5 some other number, then also I am getting the same thing. What I will get, the derivative of sin x plus 9 will also give me cos x. So I can just see that even if you have a constant with the sin x, the answer which you are getting as a derivative is the same. So when I say that what is the integral of or the antiderivative of cos x, I can say that sin x plus something. That something should be a constant, a real number only. It cannot have a function, but it should be a constant. So in general, or generalizing these concepts, I can say that the antiderivative of, or I can say that suppose d by dx of sin x plus c, I'm just generalizing, so sin x plus c will also give me cos x. So this c is nothing but a constant which is a real number. Okay. So now if I say, in order to say what is the integral of cos x, I will just say the integral of cos x will be sin x plus c. Okay, integral of cos x is equal to sin x plus c. Understood? Dealing with another example, if I take derivative of x cube by 3, I need to get derivative of x cube by 3. So I can just take out 1 by 3 and differentiate x cube alone, because it is with respect to x and 3 is a 1 by 3 is a constant. So what is the derivative of x cube? It is 3x square. So you will get 3x square divided by 3, which is x square. You are getting the derivative of x cube by 3 as x square. So what I can say, the integral of x square is x cube by 3, right? Integral of x square is x cube by 3. Now suppose I am changing the function as derivative of x cube by 3 plus 2. And here also what I will do, it will be derivative of x cube by 3 plus derivative of 2. Again derivative of 2 will be a constant, so you will get only derivative of x cube by 3, which is again x square. So what you can say, again integral of x square is x cube by 3 plus 2. So from these two concepts I can just generalize the fact that, generalizing the fact, what I can say, if I want to have the integral of x square, or I can say derivative of x cube by 3 plus any number which you have, any real number, will give you the derivative as x square. That means the integral of x square can be written as x cube by 3 plus c. Now you can understand the importance of writing this c, because even if you have any number here or you don't have, the fact which you are getting is same. Derivative is getting to be x square only. So the thing is, if you have different functions, the integral which you are getting, the integral of x square is this, the integral of x square is this, the integral of x square is this also. So this c is acting as a constant, and when we write integral of x square is this, we will say that this c is acting as the constant of integration. When we wrote here, it was only an arbitrary constant. Now when it comes to the integral of something, this answer contains that c. and this c is known as the constant of integration. And that is very important to write the constant of integration, otherwise it will go wrong. In the sense, when you integrate a term or a given function, in the answer you should have this plus c. Now you can feel the importance of that plus c, right? So you have to write plus c by integration. Now integral of x square is x cube by 3 plus c we have found out. Now instead of writing integral of, we will use the symbol used to notate this. This sentence can be rewritten using the notation as this is read as integral of. So instead of integral of, I have written this. I will write whose integral? Integral of x square, and this is, we are doing it with respect to x. So what we will write is the notation as integral x square with respect to x dx, and this is giving you x cube by 3 plus c. So this notation is read as integral of the function into dx. So generalizing the fact, I will say that integral of f of x dx, this is your integral of f of x into dx. Okay, clear? Now here the f of x which you have, f of x, the function in this one, the function f of x is known as integrand and x, which is taken as the variable because we are saying that it is with respect to x. So this x is known as the variable of integration. It is known as the variable of integration. Okay. The main formula which we will use in integrals or to integrate a term which has power as a real number, and there also we have a concept. In this concept, your n should not be equal to minus 1. For that minus 1, when n is minus 1, the definition is different. So other than minus 1, for all the values of n, integral of x raised to n dx is defined as x raised to n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 plus c, and this plus c is that constant of integration which we have discussed earlier. Whenever we integrate, we have to write the answer together with that c for indefinite integral. Okay, now why this is coming like this, we will just see for the derivative. Now if I am taking the derivative of x raised to n plus 1 by n plus 1, what I'll get, I can take out 1 by n plus 1 out because it is independent of x. So this becomes 1 by n plus 1 into d by dx of x raised to n plus 1, right? Now again, what is the derivatives definition? D by dx of x raised to n is given to be n x raised to n minus 1, right? Now applying this to this term, what you will get 1 by n plus 1 into, instead of n you have n plus 1. So you get n plus 1 into x raised to, again instead of n you have n plus 1 minus 1. So these two get cancelled, and here you will get plus 1 minus 1 cancelled, which is x raised to n. Now you just see, since the derivative of x raised to n plus 1 by n plus 1 is x raised to n, I can say that integral of x raised to n, integral of x raised to n is x raised to n plus 1 by n plus 1. So actually this dx is coming together with that. Okay, understood? So integral x raised to n dx is x raised to n plus 1 by n plus 1. For example, if we have x cube, integral x cube dx, how will you apply it? It will be x raised to 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 plus c, which is x raised to 4 by 4 plus c. Understood? So certain formulae which you need to know for integration are actually related to derivative also. The first is integral of 1 dx, integral of 1, that is if you have only integral dx, the answer is x plus c, because when you see what is the derivative of x, you will get it to be 1. That's why it is a reverse process. Understood? Now if you have derivative of sin x is cos x. So you have integral of cos x dx as sin x plus c. Now again, when you find out derivative of cos x is minus sin x, but in order to eliminate that negative, we are taking minus. Derivative of minus cos x will give you positive sin x. Understood? So you get integral sin x dx will be minus cos x plus c. Again, derivative of tan x is sec square x. So you are getting integral of sec square x dx is tan x plus c. Derivative of cot x is minus cosec square. So you are taking integral of cosec square. So you will get the negative in the other side. Okay, so integral of cosec square dx is minus cot x plus c. Again, derivative of sec x is sec x tan x. So you get integral sec x tan x dx is sec x plus c. Derivative of cosec x is minus cosec x cot x. So you get integral of cosec x cot x dx as minus cosec x plus c. Now going to the inverse part, derivative of sin inverse x is 1 by root of 1 minus x square. So you get integral of 1 by root of 1 minus x square dx as sin inverse x plus c. Now again, derivative of cos inverse x is giving you minus 1 by root of 1 minus x square. That's why we have taken as integral 1 by root of 1 minus x square dx as minus cos inverse x plus c. Now again, derivative of tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square d. Okay, derivative of tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square. So when we take the integral, you have integral of 1 by 1 plus x square dx is tan inverse x plus c. Again, derivative of cot inverse will give you that negative sign in this part. That means derivative of cot inverse x is equal to minus 1 by 1 plus x square. So integral of 1 by 1 plus x square dx is minus cot inverse x plus c. Derivative of sec inverse x is 1 by x into root of x square minus 1. So you have integral of 1 by x into root of x square minus 1 dx as sec inverse x plus c. Again, derivative of cosec inverse x is minus 1 by x into root of x square minus 1. So here you will have integral of x 1 by x into root of x square minus 1 dx as minus cosec inverse x plus c. Now coming to your exponentials, in general you have integral of e raised to nx dx as e raised to nx divided by n plus c. Now if I take the derivative of e raised to 2x, what I will do? I will first write the derivative of e raised to 2x as this same and then differentiate 2x with respect to x will give you. So it is actually 2 e raised to 2x, right? Here. Now in order to get the integral of e raised to 2x, what I have to do? This will come here. Understood? How? See, d by dx of, this is coming here as divided by. So it will be having like, actually it is coming here and this will become e raised to 2x. Since it is a constant, I can take it inside also. So this will give you d by dx of e raised to 2x by 2 is equal to e raised to 2x. So when this goes to the other side, it becomes integral of. Okay, so when I take this as integral of dx, this will give you this plus. So this is what here comes as denominator. Understood? For derivative it is into, for integrals or integration it is division. The derivative should be written in the denominator. Okay, so integral of e raised to nx dx is e raised to nx by n plus c. Now for the particular case of e raised to nx, if you take n to be 1, you will get integral e raised to x dx, and that will give you e raised to x by 1 plus c. That is e raised to x plus c. That's why you cannot see any change here, but actually it is a particular case of this one. Okay. Now integral of 1 by x dx is log mod x plus c, because derivative of log mod x is 1 by x. Okay. And derivative of a raised to x is, what is the derivative of a raised to x? d by dx of a raised to x is a raised to x into log a. Right? Now if I have to get the integral of a raised to x, I have to take this log a to the other side. So this will give you d by dx of a raised to x by log a is equal to a raised to x. So when I take the integral, I'll get integral a raised to x dx will be a raised to x by log a plus c. Got it? Clear? So these are your as such formulas. Now you need these. Remaining we have more formula for integrals, but as of now we need this much of formula which you should know thoroughly, right?